Peace, peace, gods and goddesses. Excuse me. Peace. It is Tuesday night tea with tea. So I get the question all the time, why did I choose to be in a polygamous relationship? Okay, one more time. Oh, by the way, this tea here is my dandelion tea. I have a lot of herbs, and most people that know me know that. So um, this is dandelion, mint, and any of you herbalists know anything about Damiana, got that right here. Mm. Okay, let's get back. Yeah, like I said, I get the question all the time, why did I choose polygamy? Well, before I kind of tell you why I chose polygamy, for those that don't really know what polygamy is, it's pretty much the universal name for anyone, a man or woman, or a man that chooses to have more than one wife, or a woman that chooses to have more than one husband. And I choose the first, where I'm in a relationship with a man that chooses to have more than one wife. And I believe a lot of places may call that polygyny. I think that's what they call it. Got a little note so that I don't forget anything when I speak about this, okay? So again, why did I choose polygamy? Okay, so I'll start off by telling you all that about how I love, my perception of love. So my perception of love is freedom. I'm gonna tell you my perception of what I believe love is and I believe love not to be. I don't believe it to be possession. I believe love to be freedom. I do believe that love, there are sacrifices in love, but you shouldn't have to really sacrifice yourself. Um, I believe that you should be able to be yourself in love, that there shouldn't be so many, what word I want to use? There shouldn't be so because expectations of because you told someone you love them or you love them that they have to now choose to be this way. I want them to be the person that I fell in love with at the beginning. Not because now they have the responsibility of my love, they now choose. So, and my idea of love, um, I choose freedom. Okay. I choose that person to be who they want to be. So there was a time in my life, well, and I still say that now, I kind of work in like a corporate type of atmosphere where a lot of the times I work with a bunch of men. Okay. Most of the time in my field of work, I was either the only woman or only woman of color. And like I said, I worked with a bunch of men. And me working with a bunch of men, they talk to me all the time. Okay. They would tell me things that they didn't tell their wives. They, certain pleasures and joys that they had in their life. And I would ask them at times, like, did you tell your wife these things? And they would say no. Some because out of respect for some of the things that she did not believe in, and I get that, but because they just wasn't comfortable, or not even they wasn't comfortable, they didn't get that vibe from her. They knew that she wasn't interested. It wasn't her thing. So I started to wonder about my own relationship at that time. I began to wonder, you know, was my man feeling the same way? Was there certain things in him that I just it just didn't grow. He didn't feel that he wasn't completely himself, or I didn't bring out in him as his woman, right? And I started to wonder about those things. These men, they were great men and they loved their wife, but they wasn't totally free, shall I say. So that was the first, thought that came to mind, like, wow, I wonder if that's happening to me. So again, going on in my life, I begin to wonder about the question of love. Like, is it possible for you to love more than one person? And that, I'm speaking to adults now. So when I say that, we've loved people in our life, or we so-called thought we loved them. And there were times, the relationship didn't work out for whatever reason. And I would question, like, if I said I love this person, do I still love them? Supposed to still love them after the breakup? That in love, or I love you, I care for you, but I'm not in love with you type of situation. So I'm like, is it possible for me to still love that person and then be in a relationship with this person and love them as well? And if that is possible, because maybe I didn't want the breakup. Maybe it was just because it didn't work out, and we thought it best to go our separate ways. It wasn't it wasn't the right timing, but you still cared about that person. But yet you're now in this relationship with someone, and you're like, well, you know, I care for this person too. You know, so now I started thinking, like, I wonder if it's possible for you to still love or be able to love someone that you know you're no longer with, and love someone else. I asked a question to myself about children. When I first had my first child, I asked, Dad, I was pregnant with my second child. And I said, wow, will I be able to love my second child as much as I love my first child? Sorry, guys, my second child. And, I asked that question to myself. Hold on one sec. Some really good tea. It's strong, but it's good. Yeah, so I asked myself that question, like, will I be able to love my child? And I'm telling you now, I got 5 children that I birthed, okay? And I love them equally. They are all different individuals. They do different things, they think differently, but I can say that I love them all the same. I haven't had to have test that theory that I did, that I love them all the same, but I can tell you now that I love them all the same. They're my children. So it came to my thoughts that it's possible for you to really love someone more than one person. It's possible. So that was, that started my journey on it again. I'm like, wow, so if I can love someone more than one person, then why is it not possible for you to be with more than one person? Okay. So now I'm in my life, and I'm in a position where I'm about to basically, I'm in I'm in the midst of a bad breakup. Let me just say that. Okay. I'm breaking up with someone, and I go, I break up with this person, and I'm starting to question myself, like, what do I really want in a relationship? What do I really want in a relationship? Because this relationship that I'm now, I'm departing from, it ain't it. Okay. This is not it. More sip. This is good. Yeah. So hold on to this. This is pretty good. So yeah, I'm like, this is not the relationship that I want to be in. So I started to, trying to figure out, what did I want in a relationship. So I'll go on this journey of finding myself and what I want in a relationship for about 10 months. Um, yeah, for about 10 months, I go on this journey where I'm not dating anyone, saying anything. I'm just trying to figure myself out, right? Do a little healing, as they say, and I'm figuring myself out. So as I'm figuring myself out, I start questioning about this polygamous stuff again. Like, hey, what's up with this? What's up with this? Um, it would be great. You know, I looked at my past relationships and was like, wow, it would be great to have someone else in a part of this relationship. Now, at this time, like I said, I got 5 children. My last 2 children are boys. Okay. So I would have loved to had some more girls. Sorry again, Jasmine. She didn't know that. So, so yeah, so I'm like, wow, if I had, we had another, if I get with someone and we have another wife, or I'm thinking that maybe I'll get with a couple that's already together. I'm like, wow, they have, little girls. I can help with raising the little girls, and they can help with raising my sons. I'm like, wow, this could be a good thing, Now I'm not the dimmest bulb in the box, right? But I'm not the brightest. Well, yeah, I kind of am. I'm a little bright. But what I'm saying is that it's a lot that someone else can teach my child that I may not be able to teach, right? And I'm like, wow, they can have 2 moms. Hmm, may not be a bad idea. It gives me a little bit more freedom for myself. You know, I've been a wife, and I'm a mother. So I understand the work, and I work full time. So I understand the work that you put in. And at times you can kind of lose yourself. We have a husband at home that you also want to please. And it's like, wow, you kind of lose yourself at times with those other titles, that you kind of lose the core of who you are. And so, or forget anyway, you don't lose it, you just forget. And so I'm like, wow, this might be a good deal. They can, participate in helping out with the chores. How we can, I can bring something to the children that they may have, or they bring with them, or the children they may have in the unity. And they can help with mine as well. No more having to worry about babysitters. If you want to go somewhere, we can both do that. I'm like, wow, this might be a good idea. And also, there's things I just don't feel like doing at times. We can swap. She can take care of it. So I'm like, wow, this is all sounding good to me at this point, right? But again, I'm on this journey of finding myself. So, and at the time, I really wasn't thinking about the status of like the financial part, to be honest. That kind of came later on. Why, will be a good thing is the finance. Okay. So again, like I said, I about 10 months in, I decided 10 months out, I'm sorry. I decided what, maybe I can start dating now. Okay. Maybe it's a good thing to start dating. So yeah, I did that. I went on a couple of dates. I can say, but I went on a couple of dates. My third date is now my husband. My husband. Yeah, he was my third date. And I remember when we went on a date, it was so funny. We talked a little bit on the phone for a couple of weeks or whatever, but anyway, our first date was so simplistic, and I chose to go to a park because I was trying to get to know him. And at this time, I didn't realize that he was, that he was polygamous. That was something that he was into. I think because I had talked about it. Not only did I talk about it, look, I talked about it. I remember asking my mom and my family members how they thought about it. My mom thought I was crazy, like always. And my family is okay. So my family is kind of like they practice Christianity, most of them. So I was I got some scriptures, and I got the side eye a little bit from people, but it didn't matter to me. And it wasn't any real books that I got on it. I just I didn't really get books at that time. I did a lot of chat groups that I was joining, trying to get a better understanding about it. The understanding, that's not started thinking about the finances and wow, how we can share in chores, how we can build together in a tribe. And all this was sounding really good to me. I'm like, wow, this is what I really want. So again, when I, on my date with my now husband, we were talking, and I remember everything was just lining up for me that day. That day, everything was kind of lining up. And I remember we talked so much that it got dark and we were in the woods. Okay. We're in the woods in the dark. I had the idea of going to the park with a dress on. I don't know why I did that. Well, I do know why I did it. Cause I was like, look, I was 10 months out, and I was like, I'm not trying to get no weird impression. I'm not trying to, get him the impression it's going to be anything more than what it is, just a date. That's it. I was practicing abstinence. I was like, look, we, so I didn't want him to think that. So I called myself, wanting to be looking nice, a nice dress, but not nasty, just nice. So, I put on the dress and some sandals, and I'm like, okay, but anyway, making the story a little shorter on that because it's not really what it's about. But yeah, so, after that first night of talking and we clicking, I did not go on any second dates. I knew that first night with my now husband that I would not be going on any second dates with other gentlemen that I had gone out previously with. So anyway, after that, just talking, and we didn't really, we expressed what we wanted, what we wanted in our lives, but we didn't talk about other relationships. But us women, we gonna do some searching, right? And so I searched, did a little search on him. Hold on one second. Because I know you guys know him as Lazarus Lamel. I didn't meet him that way. So I did my little search and I found out some things and I asked him about it and he was honest about it. And, my second question after that kind of was like, because, what I did find out, and he was, and everything was, up on an up and up, meaning that the other person was aware of, hey, how you doing? Was aware of our situation, right? So I'm like, okay, this is really going to this is going to work out. Well, it didn't. It didn't. That relationship didn't work out, and me and Lazarus decided to part from that relationship. Okay, but the reason why I chose polygamy, the reason why I chose polygamy is because of all the benefits that you can get from polygamy. Okay, like I said, I am, now in that relationship that we separated from, I will say that it wasn't in the textbook or all the, from all the chats that I was getting. It was nothing like that, okay? I'm not saying it didn't have its pointers, because it definitely had we had some great times. We really I hear that. Yeah, so yeah, they just, I was just yeah, kind of got thrown off. But yeah. So it wasn't what I thought it was, okay? But it was the idea of it and the great times that we did have. Like, I was sold on polygamy. And just because that relationship didn't work out, just like any monogamous relationship, they don't always work out either. I mean, let's keep it real. So so that didn't work out. But the core of what we wanted was still there, okay? And that was to build and to leave a legacy for our family. Now, as me and Lazarus, as we go on, me and my husband go on in our lives, some of what the reasons on why we wanted polygamy, or why I say I wanted polygamy, kind of changed. And I'm going to speak for myself, right? Yes, I'm going to speak for myself. And at the beginning, you heard me say that it'd be great to help in raising up my children. And me helping and raising up their children and helping with the housework, the homework, the babysitting, those are all the things I thought about. And just a girl, the benefits, absolutely. Just the girl things that we can do together, we can connect together as women, right? So I'm like, but that changed a little during our process of dating or finding a woman, another co-wife, right? And how that changed was I no longer had custody of my younger children. They went with their father. Okay. So my desire to, where that, that I wanted to raise the children in that tribal didn't exactly go. It wasn't there anymore as much. Now my children, I still see them, of course, holidays and their summer breaks, but I'm in a different state. That's another story for another night. Okay. Another Tuesday night. But anyway, yeah, so that kind of changed for me. The idea of it changed for me. But the idea of building our legacy and building together, and also the idea that my husband could be able to, experience something that maybe I personally did not, bring out in him. And see, the thing is I don't look at it as me not being complete or enough. Okay. I am who I am, and he loves me for who I am. But it doesn't necessarily mean he can't love someone else for who they are as well. Okay? So if he can find joy in someone else and love with someone else, I'm not here to stop that. Remember, to me, love is freedom. Okay? Love is freedom to me. Now, I know some people are going to ask me, well, Dia, can you be with another man? So, again, these are things that we do talk about. Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, we honestly, when you begin a polygamous relationship, this is like a little tip. Make sure that you set certain rules. Just because you're in polygamy or polygyny, or what is it, polyamory or whatever you may call it, set some ground rules at the beginning. Yes, set some ground rules. Just because you're in a polygamous relationship does not mean that everything goes. You know, that you're allowed to sleep. There is a commitment between the three or the four, however you have. It's a commitment between you all, and that commitment should not be broken. Okay, so and also if that is something that you may desire to have two men or have a man, that should be brought up. That should be communicated at the beginning, because your king may not want that, and if that's not something that he wants, then maybe you should not be in that arrangement with him. You know, maybe you should go elsewhere where you can get the two kings. But it's something that has to be talked about. I am overly happy with just being with one man. Okay, I don't need to. I don't need to. But in the cases of other people, you know, do y'all. But again, this is what I'm speaking of with the communication. This should be talked about at the beginning. And speaking of communication and polygamy is everything. It is. And it's not always that you got to be yelling or talking or, you know, or even complaining, but you have to communicate with your mates. Because I know with us in our tribe, we have to communicate. Communicate is essential to everything. And you should have family meetings. You should get together at least once a week and sit down and talk with each other. Because I know sometimes throughout life, just in any relationship, you get bogged down with everything else. You may forget about some things or ignore some things or even ignore your spouse. And it's a saying, people say that if they get into polygamy, that they would never be lonely. That's not always the case. Because in polygamy, you have to think about it. It's not just about the one, it's about the whole. And in that whole, they may need time to themselves without you. You know? That's the security you have to have within yourself. You know? So, so like I said, the first relationship didn't really go the way I thought polygamy was, but it taught me a lot. I've been in a status of a polygamous relationship, or I'm not saying I'm active in one right now. I'm just saying that having that title or have experienced it where I have been the second wife coming into something. I have been the first wife when someone introducing another wife into the situation. So I've had experiences of both, okay? And in having experiences in both, it has taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about myself, things that I didn't even know about myself until I was put into that situation, okay? And you learn, and that's why communication is always the key, okay? It's always the key in polygamy. In our tribe, we are one, whether it's 131, all the one, or 141. I don't know. We haven't decided yet, to be honest. We haven't decided. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm drinking this tea, and if you have some Damiana tea, you know it's so relaxing. Like, I don't know, my herbalist here, my goddesses here know about this Damiana, but check it out. It's really good. Very relaxing, especially at night. You need something to relax you. So yeah. So like I was saying, it didn't go out the way that we wanted to, but it's okay. It doesn't always work out, just like monogamous doesn't always work out. But why I chose it, because it gave me more time to do things that maybe I wanted to do that I couldn't always do because I had so many titles and so much responsibility. You know, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. Being a mother, being a wife, being a full-time, working somewhere full-time, you get, you know, you have the ability to know. And if your husband, you know, desires someone else, you know the person that he's with, and you can trust that person that he's with, you know. And then the camaraderie from the woman, us working together. Oh my gosh, I enjoy the time out that we have together. Our little time with the movies, our time with the children, all those different experiences that I had, they were great. Experience with, you know, them teaching my children things that I couldn't, and vice versa. Or they needed a break, I was there, you know, and vice versa. So it's an enjoyable. And then the man as well. He was able to, if he wanted to be this type of that way with her, he could, and be another, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Because I brought out something else in him, a certain drive, where she might bring out something else, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not in the belief that I have to be everything. I have to be everything. And you ladies know, you heard women say before, I cooked, I cleaned, I went to work, I took care of the kids, and he still cheated. You can't be everything. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. And it's not even about that, because for real, I mean, let's keep it real. A cheater is a cheater. It don't matter. Ain't got nothing to do with polygamy. But what I'm saying is that you trying to do everything will burn you the hell out. Excuse me, I don't know if I can say that on the live, but it will burn you out. Trying to please and do everything for your family. And if you have a woman that you can trust, that can come in, and that woman can be there, and we can financially build with each other, and we can take care of the children, even if the children are not there all the time, because like I said, my children comes on the holidays and come for summer breaks. They get a chance to have 2 months. Oh, my kids love that. Oh, so someone asked a question, how do I feel about living with each other? I love the idea of living with each other. Now, I would prefer to have my own separate room, because I do like my own time. I do not care to share a room with the other woman, but I would love to share that, because again, it to me sounds more economically sound if we did live together. Again, we don't have to share a room, but we can, we're sharing the household. We have the common areas that we're in. So that woman would have, and I know in previous experiences that I had, the woman had her room, the woman had her room, and I had mine. So yeah, I would love the idea of sharing the home. Put it down. It's tasting too good. It's tasting too good. Anyone got any questions? Okay, what do you think living in the same house can be unnatural at times? A little unnatural? No, I don't. Okay, so when you mean unnatural, it's more okay, no, I don't eat. Yeah. I don't even want a house with a man. So she doesn't even want a house with a man, okay? Go ahead, girl. We'll talk later. You're not feeling it at all. That's what I'm sensing. That's what I'm getting the energy from you. But no, I don't think that it's unnatural. I own a house, so I'm everything in the house. I can want them sharing time in one house. I am everything. Each one should be everything in their own house. So yes, okay. So yeah, you are everything, and you are enough. Yeah, and you are enough. You are absolutely enough. It's not the idea, but to be everything for everybody. That's the whole point. Sometimes you can try to be everything for everybody and lose yourself. So yeah, a lot of times people think that if you are in polygamy that you are insecure about yourself. You got low self-esteem. Now, personally, like my family is cool. I haven't had anyone come up to me and say that, but I hear this from others that, that people have said that, or I've seen it on a chat that, oh my goodness, like they must really feel bad, or this man is brainwashing them. No, absolutely not. What about happiness? What about it? It is happiness. It's what you make it. It's what you make it. Everybody has to be in some sort of agreement. It's not to say it's not going to be arguments. It's not going to be not going to be disagreements. But it's how effectively you communicate during those times. That's how it works. And everybody have to have that core belief in what you're doing. That is one of the main things that you have to have that understanding where you're going and what you guys are doing and what you're building. You guys have to have your eyes all set on that same goal. Defining that happiness is different for each one. I just explained my happiness. My happiness is basically having someone to share the household with, the chores with in the household, having someone to help with the husband, having someone, if there are children in the house, helping with the children, camaraderie, with the woman, where we're hanging out, we're doing things, sisterly hanging out and doing things. The big breakfasts and things that we have together, the movie nights that we have together, the games that we play together. All these different things are my idea of happiness. The times that I have out with the sister wife, with just her and I hanging out and doing things, us doing things with the children. These are all forms of happiness. Oh, speak more on happiness. Okay. The happiness is defined by that person, Domingo. My happiness this is my happiness. This is my happiness in it. Someone else in polygamy may find a different type of happiness in it. Okay. Their happiness may just be the fact that, you know, they don't want to have sex like that and someone else will take care of that part. I'm keeping it real. I know. I hear you, Sexy Slim. It's nothing wrong. If that's the season that you're in right now, then, you know, that's for you. I'm not here to judge anyone in monogamy, single, or polygamy. Okay? It's not about judgment or what is right, or it's not even about what is wrong. This is why I chose it. And you are, absolutely. We're all responsible for our happiness. But it's great to share some of that happiness with someone else at times. Not all the time, you don't have to. But there's moments where you want to share your happiness, not just by yourself. And it's great sharing it with more than one at times. You know? So to define happiness, it will be a different definition for anyone who's defining it. Okay? So someone happiness could be the fact they just like to come home and take their shoes off, kick their feet, and, you know, smoke them some weed or something, watch television. That might be someone's happiness. You know? And with Sexy Slim, her happiness is just being home by herself and relaxing in her home by herself. She don't want man or woman. That's her happiness. That's how she defines it. Is it impossible to be happy alone? Just what I think. No, I do find there is happiness being alone. Can you be happy alone? Absolutely. Absolutely. And you'll be tested in polygamy. Yeah, absolutely. You'll be happy alone. You can be happy. I mean, if you can't be happy alone, you're not going to be happy with someone. Happiness is within. As Sexy Slim said, it comes from within. It's not something that you're getting. I mean, you can share with no happiness and they can share in that energy with you, but your happiness starts from within. Yeah, absolutely. Happiness is, you know, don't get me wrong. I smell a flower or something, or you guys see my snake in the back. That's Moon. Moon is on the set. But yeah, you know, I find happiness in all different things, you know, but it starts from within. You got to be happy with yourself. And if you're going to be in a polygamous relationship, you definitely need to be happy with yourself. Okay. You absolutely need to be happy with yourself. Look, there's many reasons why people go into it. So can you be alone so long you can turn into a sociopath? Come on. Look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist, so I cannot say. But can you be alone so long you can turn into a sociopath? Okay, so getting off that topic of being alone so long, Domingo. Do I believe that you can fall into your own shell, into your own thoughts, and believe your own reality of things? Yeah, I believe that. When you don't have anyone around you to agree or to disagree with you or to give you other experiences, yeah, I do believe that it can affect you. It can definitely affect your mannerism, how you see things, how you think. Yeah, I definitely think it can. He said, come on. That's funny. That is funny. Oh my goodness. But I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor, you know, so I can't say that it will turn someone into a sociopath, but I can definitely tell you that someone that's been alone, they have a routine. They have a routine and, okay. So a sociopath is a term used to describe an individual with antisocial personality disorder. Yes, that's correct. However, I can't look at someone and tell them this is what they are, you know, because I don't have that degree. ASPD is a mental health condition characterized by persistent patterns of disregard of social norms, laws and the rights of others. Absolutely. Okay, so we got the definition on it, but it doesn't mean that I personally can diagnose someone as a sociopath. It just means that they may have some of those symptoms of someone with a sociopath, but if you Google that, they may have something else as well. So I really can't call it. I can't, I can't call it. I'm not going to call it. You're not going to get me to call nobody no sociopath here on this line. It's not going to happen. Okay, laws and okay, I got you. Okay, I got you on that. I got you, but no, I mean, no, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, maybe you got that degree that I don't got, but no, I'm not about to call nobody a sociopath because they alone for a long time. I am definitely pro poly with benefits, but at this point, good choosing to go towards monk. Ooh, okay. Look, monk. Okay. Look, I'm telling you, before I took this journey to be in polygamy, I was on the path of, I didn't date. I mean, I actually didn't even take a phone number. You said a monk, yes. I went, whoa, right? I know, right? And listen, everybody got their path, okay? Before I met my husband and before I started dating, I didn't do anything outside, like with my children, work, things like that. I didn't take a phone number. Yeah, I don't think phone numbers are in back, or I didn't take I guess people doing Instagram or Facebook, but I didn't take a phone number, Instagram, text, whatever. I wasn't interested. I was in a happy place too. I was in a happy place. I was doing my, I got to put the parentheses, healing. I was doing my healing. I was finding myself again. I didn't want to, did I give up on love or relationships? No, I didn't. But I wanted to make sure that I was healed enough to not bring that along into a new relationship. So not taking that and that energy and that spirit of that, I don't want to bring that into something else. So yeah, I was happy. I was in my happy space. But then one day it just clicked. It was like, hey, you can date. Oh, okay then. All right. And so, but yeah, it was about 10 months. Hey, date. Whatever. And I didn't even think about it. It didn't cross my mind. So one day it crossed my mind. Somebody mentioned it, probably was at work, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can date, can I? But I was in my happy place. I was happy. Now, this is a different type of happiness though. Yeah, absolutely. This is a different type of, like I said, everybody have their happiness, everybody has their happiness. And you're in that place right now. But to say, okay, yes. And that's okay for now. What I think Domingo is expressing is that not to stay in it too long. Because sometimes we can stay in isolation, in a sense, and it's comfortable, it's comfortable and it feels good and it's familiar. And we can't get hurt in that situation. But we lose a part of who we are in a sense where we have no one to really, I ain't gonna say check us, but we're having more only conversation with ourselves, or, without, what am I trying to say? We leave us, it's almost like limited in a sense. Like if we're not expressing, like we're in a world where we're connected, right? Like we're supposed to connect. That's something. We're supposed to have mates, honestly, people say it differently. I disagree, we are humans in form. Yeah, we're gods, but we're still in human form. And that human form needs connection. It needs some type of form of connection, whether it be just a friend for you right now. I mean, it don't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be a mate. Do not build a fortress to protect yourself. Absolutely. There you go. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that happens a lot when you get into when you get in the habit of being by yourself. And I'll give you an example, okay? Because I was by myself for almost a year. I was the only adult in the house before I met my husband. Yeah, it is. I did things like that. I did everything a certain way because I was the only person, adult in that house. And when I finally got into a home where there was multiple, Not just my husband, but me, my husband, and the other wife. I still sometimes did things in that way. I forgot about others. I was so used to doing it. I was so used, and you get into a habit of just it being you that you forget about others at times. You know, you forget the cues that and you forget some cues that sometimes they're giving you because you're so used to being by yourself. You don't recognize them, and that's and your thought process too. It changes when it's just you. So those are things to look at, I'm sorry, when you are deciding to be by yourself. But it's okay to be by yourself for a while, so you feel like like I said, a light bulb went off in my head, like, hey, then you can date. It was about 10 months, but between 10 and 11 months, but it did go off at some point. And I'm glad that I listened to it. I'm glad that I wasn't too afraid to jump out there, because I would have never met my husband that I have now. And that idea of the polygamy that I wanted to get into, it was right there. Right there. So, how do I feel about polygamy now? How many wives can a husband have? Again, this is all based on that particular relationship. I believe it depends on the finances, the home. I believe it depends on a lot of different things. Now, the wife has to agree. It has to be some type of agreement, especially if they're going to be in the same home. Like, they got to agree, right? How many wives can your you funny? You funny. We're not talking about that on the live. How many wives do you want? Yeah. Look, how I feel I love polygamy, right? Listen, I love it. When it's done right, when you're communicating, it doesn't mean because you're communicating, you're going to agree with everything and you're not going to have any fallouts. But the understanding is the main goal and what you're trying to reach and what you're trying to do. If everybody is in agreement at the beginning, you set the rules and the boundaries at the beginning. You guys decided you're going to communicate and this is what you're going to do. And we all adulting and we making adult decisions. You're secure within yourself. And mind you got to be secure within yourself. All that insecurity talk, what makes him so special, any man special enough to handle this? What makes him special? Are you talking about yourself or any man special enough to handle this? Okay, so it has to be a certain type of man, a man that wants it. The man has to not just, okay. And speaking with men, I can't speak for anyone else, but my experiences, okay? So speaking with men, there were some men that I talked to and I asked them about having another wife. They were like, my wife wouldn't have it. I'm like, okay, so what if some la la land, she decided that she would you do it? And a lot of men would say yes, okay? Then I had some men that said, no, absolutely not. I cannot handle it. That is their truth. They cannot handle it. There are some men in this world that can handle more than one woman. And what I mean by handle, I'm not just talking about sexually, because I know that's going through a lot of people's mind when I say handle, that they can handle it sexually. No, I'm speaking about emotionally, okay? Helping that woman to build, okay? Become the best woman that she can be. Help build her up, okay? Guide her. Help teach her. There are men, more than one. There are men that can do that. I don't know to call them special, but there are men that are actually that can do that. And there are some men don't want to put that much into it. They don't, it's not, and again, that's them. They just like to have the one and they're fine with it. And then you got the other men, that just want to hide it and do some other things on the side, But the man, I don't know to call them special. I don't know what to call them, but there are some men out here. My husband is one. He is capable. He is capable of all of them. Let me just say, of everything that checklist, I said, yeah, there we go. So, but there are other men, that decide that that's not for them, and that's okay too, that's okay too. Just make sure that when you decide to be in a polygamous relationship, that everybody's up front. And also, everybody has their place. And I don't know if that sounds weird or like in a box, but everybody does have their place. And you have to understand where you are in this relationship. because sometimes you may trying to figure out where you're supposed to be in this relationship. But again, goes along with communicating, especially at the beginning. Just communicating and continue to communicate. Okay. I think that's the best thing in any relationship, not just polygamy. Okay. So I've got a little notes here. Okay. I did ask my family about it. Da, 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 da. Yeah. So right now, I would love, like, right now, we me and my husband, but how I feel about it now, I would love to have another wife. I would love it. It's fun, it's fun. It's fun. And it's not to say, like I said, there's no arguments or anything like that, but it's fun. I joke with him sometimes, like, man, you gonna get you another wife? Stop playing with me. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, it's fun. Not just the fun of it, because it's hard work too. Especially the first couple of years of you being into a relationship, you're trying to find your spot and your place, and everybody's just trying to get settled. So I'm not saying that it's not hard work, but anything that's worth is hard work, right? So, but you got to want to put that work in it. Greetings, sis. You got to want to put that work in it. You got to be secure within yourself. It's nothing like, sharing your life with someone, and sharing happiness or sharing your sadness. Okay. Connecting. And if you can do that with more than one person, that's even greater. That's even greater, to have two people to have your back. So I'll just speak on this lightly. I have children, and I express that. And I remember, like, bringing, expressing to my husband, hey, how will I explain this to my children? My younger children, how would they understand it? And one thing he said to me is just let it be. You don't have to really explain it. Just let it be. And so when I first introduced my children, I introduced them to the first wife at the time, and I introduced them to Lazarus, and we did family things. And it was joyful. And they never even asked a question. Her children called me Mama Thea, and my children called her the same. And it was no questions. They didn't wonder. They got love from two women. I was the second at the time. In the first relationship, I was the second. I was the incoming wife. There was one before me. Though I've been how do I define first and second? Whoever came first. In that order. Whoever came first in that particular order. Like, who was first in the relationship, who was second. Who showed up in the relationship. That's how I define it. So yeah, I was first. I was a second. In time? Okay. In time? I don't understand the question. Who is first? Who is first? Who is second? Okay. How do you define it? How do I define that in time? Oh, in time, in the relationship, in time, how do I determine it? I don't. Just the idea of talking about it now, I'll say first and second. But in the relationship, I don't address them as the second or the first. I don't do that if that's what you're asking. I don't say, oh, second wife, or I do not address it, or in a sense that that person is treated just like a second wife. So no, that's not how that in our relationship in polygamy, we don't do it that way. I know in other places, in time, or how the way he relates. Okay, yeah, so yeah, a wife is a wife in our polygamous relationship. There's no first or second. Now, I'm going to address it that way in conversation so that you can understand where I was at the beginning, and there's someone maybe coming in time, or the way he relates. No, that's just in time, not in the way that it's not in the way that he relates to it. That's what I'm explaining it now. Yeah, there are certain ranks that people have in polygamy. Some people have ranks in polygamy. We don't really follow the rank. Now, don't get it wrong. Like, we don't follow rank. Okay. But I do believe there should be a certain type of respect that you do have with the one that was there first. Because that one there first is going to probably teach you a lot of different things about the household. So there should be a form of respect. But far as ranking, have some type of seniority, nah, we don't follow that. But there is a certain amount of respect and understanding that should be given, especially when you're first, coming in, because that first wife is going to show you the ropes. You're going to learn things on your own anyway at some point, but at the beginning, to help, to kind of help you adjust, that first one is going to. And sometimes, you may come to them for advice about certain things because they've been there longer. So that's just that form of respect. Should there be an order? Some feel that way. Should there be? Nah. Now, when I say order, there should not be an order. What I mean is that there shouldn't be a rank. Like, I'm first wife, so first wife is this. I'll give you an example. The first wife in has no children, right? But the second wife in has a child with the husband. Okay, and this is all an example. That second wife might need some extra help because maybe the child is sick or something going on, and she might need some extra help. Maybe it's on a time when you and the husband are supposed to be spending time together, but she needs some extra help. Something's going on because the first wife has priority. Or if they have rank, that means she would have priority, right? Well, it can't be like that because that wife needs help. See, it's not about order; it's about unity. In our polygamy, and I'm speaking of ours. I can't speak for someone else because I get it. I understand. And other people, and you may find someone that has order, because my understanding and my readings, and in some of the groups I have, they do have that. They have an order. Okay. It's not about order; it's about unity. That's why I said at the beginning. You probably missed it. Is that we have to think of the whole. Okay, it is the whole. It's not just the thought of yourself. It's not just the thought of him, even though he will be considered somewhat of the dot. Okay, we still have to think of everything in a whole, not of just one person, in order for it to flow the way that you need it to flow. Okay, so it's not so much of an order. If that second wife needs some extra help or something extra, and I can't be the one to give it, it's the husband that needs it, then the husband needs to do it. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It has to be that unity. It has to be. In ours. And again, I can't speak on someone. Someone else may come on here and say, well, that's not how we do it, and this works for us. And kudos. Because again, everybody's polygamy is not mine. But in our house, this is how it has to work for us. It is not about the one. It's about the three or the four. I like to say that. So I think polygamy is great. I also think monogamy is great. Okay. So I'm not against it, not against it. I'm not in it for, in case somebody want to come at my head at it. I'm not in it for religion. At first when I was doing a lot of research, that's what I found, and I think in a lot of religion, there is a first and second wife, and there's a lot of separation. And the first wife got a lot of animosity a lot of times because she didn't want to do it, but she following her religion. That's another topic. So, but no, that's not why I'm in it. I enjoy the satisfaction of my husband being the person that I saw at work, and I don't believe that. Absolutely. Yeah. If prayer is something that you do, I think we all should pray together. We should have meals together. That's what I was speaking. That's why I spoke about the meeting once a week, where because sometimes you get lost. We have to pray together. We should have meals together. We should have trips together. All these things we do together to strengthen that unity that we do have in polygamy. My standpoint is sisterhood. In that sense, we can do this on another level. Yeah, you can. You still can have that. You don't have to, you don't have to. You don't have to. Polygamy is not for everybody. That sisterhood, absolutely. You can have that sisterhood. Absolutely. hmm Polygamy is not for everybody. I don't expect everybody to, it's not about agreeing. It's just not for you. And that's cool. No, no issue with that. There's no issue with that. I mean, I've been on both sides. I've been in polygamy. I've been in monogamy. I've been with cheaters. I've been with non-cheaters. I've been on all sides. I see the advantages of being in polygamy. I'll be too jealous. How can I help with my jealousy again? You will be too jealous. Yeah. I hear that too. That is something, honestly, for you to admit it, that's cool that you can admit that. That's something that you have to work on within yourself. That's all I can say about that. It may not, again, and maybe that's just who you are. Me personally, I don't possess. So listen, when I was with someone that was having relations with someone else while they were in a relationship with me, I used to have to think about what hurt me the most. Was it the act of that person actually being intimate or caring about somebody else? Or was it the act that he lied or he deceived me and didn't give me an opportunity to determine whether I wanted to be a part of someone that wanted to be with someone else? And I had to think about that. That was on my discovery period of whether or not I wanted to do polygamy. That was a part of my discovery period. And I realized the pain wasn't so much that he was with someone else or he was physical with someone else. The pain wasn't so much that he cared about someone else. Look, I'm loving this man. I see how caring and great a man he can be. How can I be upset if somebody else find him the same way? Or he finds someone that same way? Right? So, I mean, this is how I think. So that wasn't the problem. The problem was that he lied and he deceived me. And he didn't allow me to make my own decision to being a part of it. Yes. Well, yeah, jealousy can. But the thing is this, if you're that person that is jealous, and you absolutely should not be in a polygamous relationship. You might not need to be in a monogamous relationship. I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm being honest. Maybe I'm being too honest. I'm for real. I'm for real. So sorry, it's a tea. I blame it on the tea. So, for real, like, I'm not saying that we still in a human body, right? So we have times where we may feel a certain way, okay? Maybe it's not that good, but if you're really carrying something about that, a real jealousy spirit with you, then that's something that you need to work on yourself. Listen, it's all within you, okay? It's all within you. Yes, exactly. He took my choice away. Absolutely. It wasn't the fact of him being with someone else. That don't hurt me. That really wasn't like, that wasn't oh my gosh. No. He was with someone else and I didn't know. That means that the idea of him being with the physical part, no, the idea that he risked certain things where diseases and things like that, not being honest, not being honest. That was the thing. So, I had to look at myself before I started, do I get jealous? Do I have times where I don't know. And now jealousy, I don't know if jealousy is the word or it's another word. I can't think of it right now. So I will express there were times in previous relationships where, absolutely. Okay. Where I was upset that I couldn't do something. Okay. I never got upset about any love. That's just clear that I've never got upset about my spouse. I'm loving someone, being intimate with someone. I've never been upset about that at all. Okay. That don't faze me. I'm happy that he's happy. I'm happy that someone else can make him happy. All his happiness that he shared doesn't have to be shared with me. It can be shared with others. Okay. So let's just clear that. But there were times in our relationship where I wanted to be out with him and I couldn't because of work. Yeah. I don't know if that was jealousy, envy, or I was angry. I don't know exactly what to call it, but I damn sure, was upset about it. Like, dang, I want to hang. They calling me, they on the road chilling, telling me we going to New York. I'm at work. So I'm like, dang, why y'all go when I'm at work? Why y'all couldn't wait? Why y'all gotta go now? Y'all supposed to win last week. Now you're gonna go when I'm going to work. Yeah, one of those things. Yeah, I've been there. You remember that, right? Exactly. Calling me, y'all chilling. I'm like, dang, you know I wanted to go to New York and hang out. Why you had to go now? Those times where it's not that I couldn't be a part of it because they didn't want me to be a part of it, but because of other, thank you, because of other opportunities that I had or responsibilities that I had, I could not be a part. That's it. So in that sense, I don't know if that's jealousy or I'm not sure exactly what that is. But if someone knows, they can just leave that. Leave it in the comments. Exactly what that I'm not sure exactly what that to define it, exactly what that was. Some might say it was jealousy, and if it was, then it was, okay. But yeah, I had those moments where, like I said, I couldn't do things, I couldn't be a part of things because I had to work. I mean, I had to work, right? That was the role that I played. My job was a little bit more stable, where their job, one didn't have one, they were home taking care of the kids. And then the other one, their job was a little bit more flexible. They could move around. But that wasn't their fault. It's the life that I chose even before them, you know? So but yeah, I had those times. Oh gosh, this tea is crazy. What I see kind of like what in the future of polygamy for us in Tuvalu, right? In the Messiah Code. I would love to have someone. I would love to have someone to share this journey that me and Lazarus is taking. I would love to have him to have someone that could share on this journey and help us build it. Bring in some creativity that we ain't bringing in. Help us build it. Bring in some ideas that we ain't think of. I would love to have someone for that. I'd love to have someone to work out with, Fix meals in the night that I don't feel like cooking, or the night my husband don't feel like cooking. Or I just going out to eat, hanging out, watching the movies, going skating, playing cards, whatever we like to do, I would definitely like to have that. Having someone that I can talk to about my husband and not worry that that person is going to give me some ill advice. Because you want to keep conversations like concerns and things. You want to keep that. You don't like to share. One thing I learned is that, with family love you. But when it comes to your relationship with your husband or, or with your spouse, period, you want to be able to, and there's certain things like, you might want to talk to a woman about. And yeah, you can find it in sisterhood. But I will say this is that I think someone that's closer and knows your husband as well as you may know him, or know him almost as well as you may know him, can give you even better advice. Because that person is, they're in, but they're on the outside at that point. So they're saying your point and they may see his point. Sometimes with your friends or your family, they see your point and they're going to just take your side. You might be ass wrong, and they don't mean any harm with it. Or they may start to, judge them on something that you say. You don't want that either. So it'd be great to have that woman that you can confide, like, hey, I'm having this issue. How do you think I should deal with it? She knows him. She knows you. And give you some genuine advice if you need it. Or just someone to have an ear. That too. Well, I've been here for an hour. Okay. Anybody got any questions? I think you put a question that I did get. And Sexy Swim, like, I see where you at. Sis. I just don't want you to stay there too long. Okay? It's okay. You got to go through what you got to go through. And Akshita. Yes, thank you. And Akshita. Yeah, it's, like I said, it's not for everybody. I don't expect everybody to, what gets me is not the fact that everybody can't do it. It's when someone try to tell me that they think I shouldn't do it. Like, I can't, if I was you, I'm like, well, you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not you, yeah, we're in the same body, but God has a different experience through us all. And this is experience that he's coming through with me, So, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so, that's pretty much all. If one got any questions, Why did I choose it? Why did I choose polygamy over monogamy? Family, unity, love. How about it? Love to love. Absolutely. Thank you, Akshita. Thank you. And I respect yours. And I respect yours. I respect all your decisions on how you live your life. It's your life. As I said a few seconds ago, your experience through God is a different experience. You don't need to have the same, you know? So this is my experience. I'm enjoying it. I will enjoy it more when we get someone else, hint, hint. But anyway, yeah. But this is why I chose polygamy. You know, I'm not insecure. I'm not desperate. I love, and I love to be loved, as Oracle would say. I love, and I love that my man loves, and I love that he's free. Thank you. Cool. Sophia, Goddess, Lamel, and I like to say, good night.